Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Emily and in today's video I will be playing with the latest release from Hero Arts. So in my hands I have a couple of products from the new I Pick You collection. And I have this beautiful stamp set. It's a branch with a couple of flowers that you can cut and also sentiments. So it's called Apple Brunch. I'm probably butchering the name, but you can get an idea of what it's called. We have Thank You. I couldn't have picked a better friend. You're the sweetest. So that is really nice. And to go along with that, we have the coordinating dies. Love that they are separate, so you don't have to cut them apart. So I will be playing with that one today. We also have this beautiful stamp set with sentiments. I will not be reading all of these, but you can see we have a variety of sizes and fonts in this one. You also get an apple and some leaves. And of course there is coordinating dies to go along with this one. We also have this die cut. You can see it cuts a frame, a gorgeous frame. With the apples and the branches and the leaves here. You also get some separate apples so you can have them in different colors. We have some leaves and some flowers to go ahead and decorate your project. And to go with that we also have the stencil set. So we got I think at least 4 stencils in this. And it creates this beautiful branch of apples. Let me see if I have a picture. I don't know if it's gonna be a glare. But you can see how cute that is. I really like that. So you can see we have actually 5 layers to this stencil set. So that is what I'm going to be playing with today. I hope you will stay tuned and see what we can create together today. Yes, so first off I started off by pulling out the stamp set. I really like this Apple Brunch stamp. I think it's just gorgeous. And I have some Nina 80-pound cardstock in my stash, and I just rub in my hand alongside the stamp just to like prep it for the ink so it takes it well. I used Hero Arts ink and I also heat setted it to make sure that I wouldn't smear it when I use my Copic markers on top of it, or alcohol markers I should say, because these are my Olo markers which I really like to use. And I have these beautiful really bright green colors that I wanted to have for my apples, and you can see I'm trying to leave a little bit of a white halo in the middle or highlight in the middle. So I'm gonna do that for all of my apples here, and I'm no expert at coloring. I just wanted to point that out. It's not my strongest side, so I just did my best and had a ton of fun coloring these in. What I like about them is that it's quite a large space to fill in, so it was really easy to try to blend it and to have the colors inside of the lines. And if you would color outside, you can see the brown there, I didn't do a fantastic job. I went outside the lines a couple of times. It's no problem, because if you're just using a white gel pen you can take that right off. Even if it's like a dark green or a pink or a red, it actually works. So that is really nice. You don't have to be too careful when you color in. You can see I picked another green color. This one is more on the blue side. And you can see the lids there on the screen if you like to copy my color combination. And I just went around, colored them in, and used the 2 shades for the image. I also colored the flowers off camera, and I will put these to the side and start working on the next focal point for the next card. I will be using the apple frame stencils and also the coordinating die. But I started off with the apples. This is the first layer of that stencil. And I'm using a combination of different inks and brushes that I had in my stash. Some are from Hero Arts, some are from Trinity Stamps. The inks are also a combination of Concord and Ninth as well as Hero Arts. So I didn't use one brand, I just looked through my stash and saw what I wanted to use. So I used a yellow ink as well as a red and a really bright red for the first one. Sorry about not getting the perfect shot there. But I went on to coloring in the leaves of my image. I used a large blending brush, and then I will clean it off and go ahead and pick the next layer. This is the more detailed one. I love this one, and I try to line it up to the best of my ability, and sometimes that takes a second just because you really want it to be in the perfect spot. You can see how beautiful that is. And then the third and final layer for the leaves, and this is really the one that brings all of this scenery together. So you can see I'm taking my time here and lining it up, and then I will use a dark brown. So I started off with a softer brown ink, but then I switched over because I wanted something darker, and just pressed that really heavily into the apples and to the branches and to the leaves. And you will see that this really makes everything come to life. So that is just so stunning. I also wanted to try out this technique with just cutting that apple frame, and I also cut the apples and the flowers, and instead of coloring them with the stencils, I went around and colored them directly on top of this green paper with a darker green, so I will have sort of a variation of color for those. And then I did the same thing for the apples. I took a small red marker, and then I went around and just colored them in red. You can see I cut them out of some fire brick cardstock, and I skipped the yellow part. I tried it on one, but I didn't love how it turned out, so I decided to go ahead and just use the red one. And then I raised every apple up with some foam dimension. You can see I'm just using some squares here. Super cute. And then my flowers will also be colored with a little yellow center, as well as that gold middle part. And I used my white gel pen to give the apples some highlights and also some dots to the leaves. I love doing this because it really brings my image to life. And then I cut one of the panels that I stenciled with the coordinating dies, and I will use that for my third card here in a second. For the sentiment for for two of my cards, I just embossed this on top of some gold vellum with some gold ink, and I'm just using a couple of tweezers here to hold it. I will show you can see up in the corner how they look. I also took some blue leftover ink from my brush and just went around a blue panel, and then I splattered it, and then I raised this frame up I think 4 times with some cardstock to the back, and then I will go ahead and press this down, I will first press on the beautiful layer on top of this white one and cut off the exit, but then I will take this and press it down to the background so that we will have a really beautiful frame around our blue background. So this is how it will look, and you can see I'm just taking a bunch of glue because my white paper there was a little bit glossy, so I don't want it to come undone, so I wanted to be careful about that. You can see how pretty this is. I really love it. And some flowers just fell off, so I put it down again. And here is the sentiment, the one I did with the vellum, and I just raised it up with some foam, and then I had some extra leaves, so I will spread those around the sentiment, so I will fill in this whole scenery a little bit more. I really love how this turned out. I think it's so pretty. So there we go. Our first card is finished, and here's our second one. So I dried embossed that branch frame, and you can see how beautiful that is. And for the sentiments, I just pulled out 2 from that apple branch stamp set, and I heat set them with my heat tool with some white embossing powder on top of black cardstock. I love that look. And here you can see I'm using quite a lot of glue on top of my cream colored cardstock that I dry embossed with that frame. Really pretty. And then off camera I cut a circle vellum piece, and that will cover up the center and also be a perfect landing spot for my apples. I also use quite a lot of dimension for my branches and leaves here, and of course my white gel pen just to give it some dimension. Really like how that looks, and of course the dots really helps everything look pretty and finished as well. And when I'm done with this, I will take the flowers that I cut off camera and colored off camera and also embellish that a little bit more and some sequins as well. For my third and final project, I decided to go in a little bit more with some yellow color for the apples. So I just took my stencil and put it on top of the frame we cut previously. And this one I will turn. So I will have one that is in the background and one that is in the front, and I will have dimension between them. So you can see how cute this look is. It really looks like it's a more full wreath of the apples. And for the sentiment, I decided to go with the same one, have a delicious day. And then I raised it up, you can see, a bunch of times on top of paper, to create more of an embellishment for the die cut itself, and then I had it on top. So there we go, you will get a close-up look now on all of the 3 projects that we created with the products from Hero Arts latest release. I will have them listed down below for you in the description box, and I hope you enjoyed this video and got inspired to create something. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I will soon be back. Bye!